I'll have to be honest with you. First thing I'm going to mention right up front is it's free. I like this service when it's free because, you know, you can tie up a lot of money in different services, and from experience I found out that sometimes you can pay a lot of money and you may not be getting that much out of it.
Good afternoon, welcome to GrainTV. My name's Cody Bills. Today is Tuesday the 27th, one day after Memorial Day. We had corn trading down 8 1/4 cents, soybeans down 26 3/4, wheat in Chicago down 11.5 cents here. Obviously the big concern is soybeans trading lower again here. I think one of the reasons why we were doing that is we did see a state reserve auction in China. They ended up selling 81.5% of the soybeans that they had offered at an average price of $660 per ton. That was on average more soybeans as a percentage of what was offered than the state reserve sales that we saw last week. One thing to note there is last time we did see this, we did see the market trade lower here. The following day, though, it rallied back. So keep in mind that we do have the possibility tomorrow of snapping back a little bit after that state sale. Also, something to note is on the 29th, they announced that 3.5 million tons of corn will be auctioned off in China from state reserves. So that's going to be something we're going to pay close attention to on the 29th. Let's switch over here to wheat. Wheat was trading down 11.5 cents on the day. It was trading down sharply in the overnight, and corn was following it. One thing to note is that we were receiving precipitation across the plains. Of course, we didn't get as much precipitation as we wanted in those southern and central parts of Kansas, but Texas did get a drink of about 1 to 3 inches. That was pressuring wheat lower here in the morning. Also, over the weekend, we did get a Ukrainian presidential vote. That seemed to be successful with Petro Poroshenko getting 54% of the vote here. The next closest competitor was only received 13% of the vote. So to me, I would suggest that now having one decisive voice in Ukraine is going to be very positive for the region. Really, only hours after being elected, there were some very decisive attacks on rebels in the eastern part of Ukraine. It resulted in 50 rebel deaths and 0 for government forces. So the bottom line here is it looks as though there's being decisive action taken. Of course, Vladimir Putin commented to halt that sort of activity, and Petro Poroshenko said that they will not negotiate with terrorists. It's going to be very interesting to see how this all pans out. But in conclusion here, I would suggest that we could start to see more of a resolution here, barring any significant intervention here by Russia. When we switch over here, of course, we were all waiting for the crop progress that came out around 2 o'clock here today. Let's switch over and take a look at where we came out. Corn was 88% planted compared to a 5-year average of 88% planted. So we're right on pace here compared to the average situation. Soybeans 59% planted, so we're running ahead of pace here now for soybeans, and spring wheat still behind, but gaining a pretty decent chunk of ground here. Now 74% planted compared to a 5-year average of 82% planted. I suppose the big thing looking forward is going to be just what the weather is like, and it looks as though starting Friday and really going through Tuesday, we're going to get some planting delays in that North Dakota and Minnesota region. So that will most likely be affecting that spring wheat contract. Really leading up until Friday, we should get a window of planting opportunity. Hopefully producers can get out there and get a significant amount seeded. But when you look at Friday's weather outlook, you're noticing that there's precipitation in North Dakota and South Dakota. When you move that over towards Saturday, we're now moving that precipitation over into Minnesota, also in South Dakota. And when you look at that 6 to 10 day weather outlook, you're noticing that the whole northern part of the U.S. is going to be receiving more moisture than typical. Let's just take one last look here before we close off the day. Let's take a look at the technical outlook. When you look at wheat, this is Chicago wheat. This is a daily chart, and of course this is a candlestick chart representing, or each bar representing 1 day worth of price activity. You'll notice that 100-day moving average, we slipped down past today. I think a lot of that has to do with some of that risk premium being taken out of the market from the situation in Ukraine starting to resolve itself, as well as some more precipitation in the southern plains region. You'll notice also when you scroll over here to corn that we paused right on that 100-day moving average. It was a very a solid support level here for the last couple days, but today we resumed the trend lower here. It looks as though we might end up seeing some continuation selling in the overnight session and into tomorrow's trade. And when you look over here at soybeans, this is what's very interesting because we've seen these sort of fake outs before. You'll notice that we had a breakout on Thursday. We paused up there without closing back on the other side of that resistance level that we were breaking out of. Today we ended up closing back on the lower side at 14.88 3/4. The bottom line here is that oftentimes when you get these sort of fake outs, you may capture buyers that bought on the breakout, but now as we close back within that area that we broke out of, you may have caught some people on the wrong side of the market. Now, I would warn you this is that we've seen this sort of price action in the November contract. Now, just because we have this sort of price action doesn't necessarily mean that we're going to see a reversal in trend. Last time we saw this price action, the following day, we rallied right back up to the highs. So I would just warn you with this soybean contract, it has been very volatile in the past. Other than that, guys, thanks a lot for tuning in to today's show. If you have any questions about what I talked about here, give a call at 877-472-4607. Remember, you can take a demo at grainhedge.com if you want the mobile trading platform or if you want to try out the desktop trading platform. I look forward to hearing from you, and I'll talk to you tomorrow.